Why do we feel lonely now, even though everyone is around us? Loneliness may be in the form of a city walking in its street amidst noise, crowds, chatter, and laughter. But you remain a stranger, confused and isolated from the world. Have you ever felt like the character Robert Walston, the captain who leads an expedition in the novel Frankenstein? That character who is surrounded by many companions, but in reality, none of them is his true friend. As he said, "I want to be with a friend who sympathizes with me and whose eyes respond to my questions." A recent study confirmed that feelings of loneliness increase in crowded and densely populated environments. In another study conducted by the BBC on loneliness, which included 55,000 people around the world, 40% of young people between the ages of 16 to 24 feel lonely, despite all the means available to them to communicate. We must distinguish between transient loneliness and chronic loneliness. If we feel that the symptoms we suffer from prevent us from living our lives, working and building relationships, we must visit a specialist doctor and share with him what we feel. It is also important to differentiate between the loneliness that is imposed on us and the one that we choose. Some circumstances such as poverty, war, health issues, all of these circumstances are imposed on some of us and force them to feel lonely. In any relationship, regardless of its nature, if one of the parties prioritizes physical contact or the relationship is without nourishment, both parties will end up feeling lonely. The only solution to this problem does not lie in multiple relationships, but rather in the nourishment and purpose of establishing relationships. In the end, it is about realizing when you feel that your needs have been met. Excessive use of technology and its relationship to loneliness. Social media increases our feeling of loneliness. We must accept this fact. How many times have we finished our tour on Instagram, TikTok, or even Quora, and felt a lack of belonging or discomfort? The solution is to regulate our use of these things so that they do not drag us to the bottom of depression and loneliness. In our usual session, when we feel lonely, when we ask ourselves, why do we feel lonely? And answer, because no one likes us. Here lies the problem. We are supposed to be realistic. Maybe we are lonely because we did not communicate enough. Maybe because we are the reason people are repelled by us. Beware of making ourselves prisoners of our illusions. Between monopolizing our enjoyment with material things, distancing ourselves from spirituality, and losing contact with nature. A study showed that the feeling of loneliness decreased in societies that have regular spiritual customs and that have direct and continuous contact with nature. The percentage decreased by 28%. Reams, researcher, says that the reason behind the benefits of contact with nature is that it increases our sense of connection to the place, as religious affiliation makes us feel that our lives have a purpose, and every day in it is nourishing and worth living. She said in her words, "This feeling of connection and belonging seems to be the only solution, it seems. As the world becomes more and more crowded, finding ways to connect may become useful. However, we should not criticize ourselves too much when we feel lonely, but rather we should listen to it and not just reject it."